welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I wanted to do an interesting chat. So about a decade ago or so, there was this trend running on Facebook that tagged people to talk about the top 10 books that have stayed with them in during that time. I want to say that this was about a decade ago. So first, I want to share the top 10 books that I noted at that time. So I'm going to say between 2014 to 2016 is when I think that I made this list. So I'll go backwards. At number 10, I have Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. Number 9, I have It by Stephen King. Number 8, I have The Host by Stephenie Meyer. I'll talk more about that in a minute. Number 7, I have The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Number 6, I have Making Faces by Amy Herman. Number 5, I have P.S. I Love You by Barbara Coughlin. Number 4, I have 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. Number 3, I have The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. Number 2, I have The Little Prince by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Don't know if I said that correctly. And number 1, I have the Dark Tower series by Stephen King. So now I want to talk a little bit about each one. The Dark Tower series by Stephen King is unlike any other book. So I actually have the Dark Tower series by Stephen King and all tie-ins because there is no other writer like him and you cannot really just choose one in the series. So the Dark Tower series, I think this took him a long time to publish these. When I found them, I was around 17 or 18 years old and he was only partway through the series. I know that it took him many more years to finish the series. I absolutely love this series. It touched me in so many different ways. The story was captivating. I was engrossed. I devoured it. I absolutely loved it. One day I would like to do the audiobooks again and just see if they would still make me feel the same. But I absolutely love them. There is no writer like Stephen King. The way that his mind wrote, he wrote a book, Insomnia. And it was a thick book. It was an amazing book. And it is this large chunker of a book that was amazing, that reflects 2 minutes, a short little section of the Dark Tower series. And he's done this a lot with a lot of books that are like that. And I just, for a mind like to work like that and be able to write stories like that encompass other worlds and other things happening, to me was absolutely amazing. So I mean, hands down, top favorite. So now I'm going to talk. So that was then. So now I'm going to talk about, I sat down and really thought about it and did my list for 2026 where my top 10 stand now. And first I'm going to do, so I'm recording my 2026 top 10 over again because I forgot a book. So I'm doing it over again. So let's start again. So number 10 is still It. Oh no, so number 10, so It by Stephen King went from number 9 a decade ago to number 10 now. So It by Stephen King, because this is the first book that brought me from young adult to fiction at 15. It's the first book that transitioned me from reading like the younger teenager books into like adult fiction reading. I absolutely loved it. I actually did I don't want to say a book report, but like a project on it for one of my classes and absolutely loved it. So at number 9, I have The Host by Stephenie Meyer. So this one went down from number 8 to number 9. I absolutely love The Host by Stephenie Meyer. I know might be a hot take, but I love the story. It was absolutely amazing. It's a story about humanity, about what we're willing to fight for, what things mean to us. So basically, aliens come to Earth and take over human bodies and live through those human bodies. And they believe that they're bringing happier times to our world because they take away wars, they take away all the bad things that were happening. But humans obviously don't want this to happen. And you have rebels who are fighting this from happening. And interestingly enough, there is a human that has a host in them that ends up with humans for reasons. And they show her why humans don't want that kind of life of having a host inside them, while humans show her cruelty, right, of how humans can be, but they also show her the good side of humans. She comes to love the humans and see that, yes, they're flawed, but their people. I don't think I'm giving it justice, but I absolutely loved it. The Host was an amazing book. I know that she wrote the Twilight series, and I love the Twilight series. They're amazing books. But if you haven't had a chance to read The Host, definitely check them out. I absolutely loved it, and it's why it's on my top 10 of all time books. And then number 8 is Making Faces by Amy Harmon. And I actually have that over there. So this was just an emotional book. So it's number 8. So it went from number 6 to number 8. It was just touching, emotional. It starts off young adult because we meet the characters in high school, and then it takes us through 9/11. It's not a spoiler. It takes us, and then we go back and see them as adults and their journey, the things that they go through. It just is a story that has stayed with me. The belief, their faith. It just was really emotional and touching, and I absolutely love the two main characters. Their romance was absolutely amazing, and it just stayed with me for a long time. And then number 7 is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. So that went from number 10 to number 7. Suzanne Collins, the Hunger trilogy, absolutely amazing. I don't feel like I need to add more to that. I loved all 3 books, but the Mockingjay is the one that really touched me. It's the one that just was so emotional for obvious reasons. It culminated from the 2 previous stories to what was supposed to happen, the choices that Katniss had to make, the things that Peeta went through, and just at the end of the book, what you see them go through. Just absolutely touching. Absolutely loved it. Highly recommended. And then number 6 is a new book, Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. I absolutely loved it. Grace and Rocky were absolutely amazing. I loved the audiobook. So the first time I read the book, I listened to the audiobook. Highly recommend it. If you're going to read this book, do the audiobook. It's absolutely amazing. It really puts you in the story. It gives you the essence of Rocky and the friendship that comes between them, and it's absolutely amazing. I've seen the movie twice. Absolutely loved it. They did a great job with it. Absolutely. It's just what we're capable as humans, what we can do, and how we can come together. It's just absolutely amazing. I do have to side note, I love The Martian, which is also very similar. It brings people together and what they're capable of doing when we work together. However, of those 2, Project Hail Mary is my favorite. And then the friendship between Grace and Rocky is everything, right? There's 2 different beings, 2 totally different, I don't want to say people because they're not people. Rocky is an alien, but just how they can come together, how they can be friends, how they come to mean so much together, and what they're willing to sacrifice for each other. Absolutely amazing. I cannot recommend it enough. Number 5, I have The Kite Runner. So it actually went from number 7 to number 5. The Kite Runner is absolutely amazing. So this one, the blurb starts with the unforgettable, heartbreaking story of the unlikely friendship between a wealthy boy and the son of his father's servant. The Kite Runner is a beautifully crafted novel set in the country that is the process of being destroyed. I remember the story staying with me, the story of the boys, their friendship through the years, and then what happens at the end. It was just an emotional story, a story with grief and loss and growth and so much more that it just stayed with me. I also read A Thousand Splendid Suns by this author and absolutely loved it, where The Kite Runner is about boys, men. A Thousand Splendid Suns is about girls, women. Both great books, but this one was the first one I read by him and the first one that really stayed with me, and so it's why it's in my top 10. And it did interestingly move from number 7 to number 5 in my updated list. And then at number 4, I have a new book. I have Sunrise of the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. So the blurb for Sunrise of the Reaping starts, when you've been set up to lose everything you love, what is there left to fight for? So if you know the Hunger Games story, you know that this is Haymitch's story. Haymitch was the mentor for Katniss and Peeta in the trilogy. He was the only winner left in Area 12, and you just know from his story that his book was going to be heartbreaking, and it was heartbreaking, it was emotional, it was just everything you expected, and I absolutely loved it. And my daughter and I read it as one of our two broads in a book pick. I don't remember which month, but also in preparation for the movie because we cannot wait. It is such an emotional book, and again deals with a lot of what we're going on during this time period in the world. And it was absolutely amazing. Suzanne Collins is an amazing writer. The world that she brings us, the gut-wrenching feelings that she makes us feel, the loss, the grief, everything that happens in the story was just, it drew me in and kept me captivated, and that's why that is now on my list. I'm trying to see what I took off my list for that. 13 Reasons Why. So 13 Reasons Why. At the time that I read that book, I was reading it with my oldest daughter. She was reading it, so I wanted to understand what she was reading and why. And so at that time, it stayed with me. My daughters were going through a lot, and it really gave me an understanding of some of the things that they were going through. But, so much time has passed that I don't feel as strongly about that one, and I wanted to add Sunrise of the Reaping. So that is what came off my list. And then number 3, I have The Outsiders by S.E. Hinton. So when I started the transition from when I was younger to more teenage books, I was introduced to S.E. Hinton, and I absolutely loved her books. Let me see if I can remember all of them. Text, That Was Then, This Is Now, The Outsiders, and I'm missing one. The name is just slipping me for whatever reason, but I loved all 4 of her books. I loved her writer. She released this when she was very young, and I know for sure 2 of them were made into a movie, possibly 3. But for me, none of them beats The Outsiders. When I read it as a teenager, if you know about this, she wrote it in the 80s and talks about gang life in the 50s, 60s, the differences between the people from the right side of the tracks versus the wrong side of the tracks, the choices that they have based on where they're from, the decisions that they have to make, how different it is when one makes a choice between a similar choice based on another, loss, grief, growing up, choices. One of my favorite quotes that still stays with me is "Stay golden, pony boy." Even when I hear it, sometimes it still makes me tear up. And to this date, this is a book that stays with me, that I love, I adore. I recently watched the movie again. Maybe someday I'll pick up the book. But again, absolutely loved it, absolutely included. It stayed in the same place. Number 3, absolutely loved it. And then at number 2, the same book stays there. So I know The Little Prince is a little bit different for me, something that's up there. I'll put the book here to share with you. I do want to share the blurb. The Little Prince is the most translated book in the French language. With a timeless charms, it tells the story of a little boy who leaves the safety of his own tiny planet to travel the universe, learning the vagaries of adult behavior through a series of extraordinary encounters. His personal odyssey culminates in a voyage to urge and further adventure. And he goes on to meet the Little Prince and in the Sahara, and the wise and enchanting stories the prince tells of his own planet with its 3 volcanoes and haughty flowers are unforgettable. A strange and wonderful parable for all ages. I know this one's a little bit different, and I know that you're thinking, where did this come from? I also read this, I want to say that I was between 18 and 20 when I read this book. And I found it at a bookstore. Borders? God, I'm really aging myself. I don't know if anyone remembers Borders. I was looking around for books, and I found this book, and it intrigued me, and I bought it and brought it home and read it. And the story just stayed with me. It was charming. It was emotional. It was heartbreaking. That ending, oh my God. One of the first books that just truly made me feel. It made me feel so many things. It's still, to this day, It stays with me. I remember it. I should pick it up and read it again, but it was so emotional. And yes, it's number 2 in my top 10 list of favorite books. And I don't think that'll ever change. It was absolutely amazing. It's just hard to describe what it made me feel, but I absolutely loved it. And at number 1, it has not changed, the Dark Tower series by Stephen King and all the tie-ins. Like I said, this story engulfed my life for years. It was absolutely captivating. The journey of the gunslinger and his friends in the Dark Tower to the Dark Tower chasing the man in black was absolutely amazing. I plan on getting a tattoo here, probably here on my forearm, of a book that with the pages open, and at the bottom I want to do the quote, "The man in black fled across the desert and the gunslinger followed." It is the first sentence of the first book of the series and the last sentence of the last book in the series. And it's why it's this in those 2 books is absolutely heartbreaking. It's absolutely horrifying. This story, this series has stayed with me for a long time. Like I mentioned earlier, Stephen King does where he does a lot of tie-ins between his book, and he did a lot of tie-ins with the Dark Tower series, which I think is absolutely amazing. The memory that this man has, the way that he's able to weave stories, the Dark Tower series is absolutely amazing. Absolutely loved it. I would love to listen to the audiobooks. I originally read the books when they first came out, and I cannot wait till someday sit down and read them. It's absolutely one of the best series that I have ever read. I will always recommend it. If anyone ever asks me what is the top books that I ever read, you can't make me choose. It is the Dark Tower series as a whole is absolutely amazing. Yes, I know that there are 8 books in the series. You must read them all. It's absolutely amazing. I do want to note that when I did this the original time about 10 years ago, I did an honorable mention, The Stand by Stephen King. And I still stand by that. I wish I could put it somewhere in there. I think P.S. I Love You by Barbara Franklin just stays there because, again, that's one of the first books that I remember reading when I'm a little bit older, and that has always stayed with me. But The Stand, if you ever ask me what my top 3 books from Stephen King are, it would be the Dark Tower series, It, and then The Stand. The Stand, again, is absolutely amazing. Absolutely. The story that he weaves, the character that he weaves, the journey that he takes you on. The man is an amazing writer, and I will always, if he writes it, I will always read it. I absolutely adore anything he writes. I know it's a little bit different than what I normally talk about, but he is absolutely amazing. So I did want to note that I did have that as an honorable mention, and I do keep that in there. So I hope you enjoyed this. It kind of gives you a wide range of what I've read throughout my life, what I've enjoyed throughout my life. Interestingly enough, romance-wise, I guess you can really say that it is just Making Faces by Amy Harmon and P.S. I Love You by Barbara Conklin. I could sit down and make a top 10 of my romances, which I may do that, but I wanted to do my top 10 books ever. Anyways, that was something a little bit different for me. I hope you enjoyed it. It showed you the wide range of reading. Like I said, I've been reading since I can remember, from walking to the library to getting books from my school library to Scholastic books to now. I love books. I love reading. Right now, I really read a lot of romance. I love romance, but I like to read anything. I give anything a chance. It's absolutely amazing. Reading to me is my happy place. I enjoy it. I enjoy getting lost in stories in different worlds, in different things. I hope you enjoyed this, and if you did, if you want more content like this, subscribe, like, comment, interact, so that I can get out there a little bit more. Thank you so much for stopping by on my channel, and I hope you enjoyed the content. Until next time.